Kathy Vick, Deeply Awake. I keep having this insertive group of thoughts that there's some sort of final exam. I just feel like there's some sort of final exam, and I feel like there's a time component to it, and I keep feeling like I don't want to be late. I don't want to be late. I realize that this is an motif that I've had my whole life. It's an inner thing. It's nothing that really gets discussed a whole lot. But just this feeling of needing to be on time. This is spoken from someone who is notorious for being, I don't know, late. I mean, really bad late. For really important things. But still. So it brings up an issue. That of resistance, but also what I like to call, I laughed out loud when I realized I was going to talk about this, slumming it. I call it slumming it. Always have. Since I was a kid. Very aware. There are people who are completely unconscious. They are completely unaware of their impact on others, they're unaware of what I hold, they're unaware of God, of beauty, of a finer nature. They're crude, they're angry, they're not very bright, and many of them are patients. And that's, that's people who have a problem that is so severe that that's all they can see. That's it. That's their focus. And they are sort of like consuming. They're consumptive. Bad marriages are like that too. They're also consumptive. Anything they touch, they tend to destroy and eat. And patients are like that too, when they're really bad. And people in this energy are like that too. They can't see anything but themselves. Literally, these are people who I could sit down and I could break their minds. I know I could. By just stating my observations. But they have a wonderful way to keep safe. They're not able to listen. They just don't get it. They don't hear it. You could tell them 1,000,000 times and they wouldn't hear it. So this fear that I've always had of, I could break you in half. Yeah, right. If they had the ability to listen, yeah. I'm careful though, because I can see. And I try. I introduce a little teeny tiny bit. Breaks people apart. They act bad. They respond poorly. They get angry. They get really fucked up. So I don't give them any more. Hanging out with those kind of people, I call slumming it. I realized very young, it wouldn't be a problem having boyfriends, girlfriends. It wouldn't be a problem being social. It's a matter of being unconscious. It's a matter of not attending. Then the world opens up, because somehow getting bumped around and getting shit on, you just don't notice it. Well, I notice it. I notice it. I don't like it. And I'm not okay with it. So as a nurse, it's been part of, and as a psych nurse too, partly my job to, I felt, to raise things a bit, to teach, to instruct, to offer another way, a way that's more peaceful, that's more balanced, that's more thoughtful. And oftentimes I'm simply not welcome. I am not welcome. Oftentimes I get a foot in the door and then I am rejected by the group. Depends on how dark they are. Some people can't get enough of me. But I've done some thinking about what I want for this next year. And I thought to myself, what I really want? What I really want in this year is to not be around muggles. I told my son that. I'm thinking that my resolution is I'm just not going to be around muggles this year. He said, well, you're going to be awfully lonely. I said, yeah, maybe so. My friends, even the ones who are not, really totally sparkly, honey, they're not muggles. What I mean by muggle, that's somebody who is really willing to shit on you, to take down their pants and take a shit on you, and then blame you for being dirty. That's a muggle. And so it's distressed me this last few weeks. Why is it that I keep banging my drum about these people? What is it? Why? If I'm creating my own reality, then I sure am creating a lot of abusive shitheads. So what is that? What's up with that? Am I an abusive shithead? Is that what this is all about? Is it pointing out how big of a turd I am? No. Opposite. The problem has been when I have been around people who are incontinent with their thinking and their feelings, when I am around people who are in misunderstanding, when I'm around people who are devious, straight up devious, in complete and utter lies, living, breathing liars. I don't turn tail and run. I think I can somehow, be of help. Yeah, no more. The problem is that, the other thing is that when I'm around people like that, and around, like, in business dealings, when I'm in a group where profit is the most important thing and patient care has just gone out the window and they're making really bad decisions, both business decisions and clinical decisions, because they're profit driven. Wow, am I the wet blanket there? Oh, I'm the bully. Yeah, I'm the one who gets booted. Yeah. And that's the kind of company that churns people. I worked for a company like that. And we had a Christmas dinner with, 14 women around the table who had all been brutally fired by those assholes. Because they kept saying, oh, well, that's the nurse's problem with our company. If we get rid of her, everything will be fine. And they went through all of us. Yeah. Externalize your darkness much? Project much? It's been bothering me. I'm supposed to be tolerant, right? How am I supposed to be tolerant of people who cannot manage their anger and who think that I'm fair game because they have an owie? I'm done with that. I'm done. What does that mean? It means I walk away. I was told that over 20 years ago. When do I know it's time to leave? They said, well, you have the habit of staying too long at the fair because you think you can help when there's no help that's being taken. When you find yourself among very dark people doing dark things and they're mean and they're not skilled, and they're unkind, unthinking, selfish, thoughtless, rude. And you find that you cannot get any respect. That you can't budge it. You cannot once be pulled into their muck and still, the invitations come. You leave. You just leave. It's never going to change. If it doesn't change with you present, it's not going to change. Yes. Being in their presence, sure, it impregnates them with something. Who cares? Walk away. Walk away. For this one, yes, this is the admonition now and forever. The problem has always been being in a company of people who are in misunderstanding and quite dark because of it, with many overlays, many belief structures which are quite faulty and unloving. Well, this one has been flummoxed, has not owned her power because she has not understood she had any. She saw that the others had the power, and they abused it with regularity and glee. Ha! Little did she know, much of the turmoil was due to the ones in confusion wishing that she would step up and speak and own her mind. In the absence of this, they ran amok. This was the old agreement, was it not? Yes, it was. Root and sacrum turned high. Crown and pineal turned lower. In one group, in the darker group, throat turned down. In the more aware ones. It is this agreement field which is uncountable. It is this agreement field we wish to talk about today. Just a breaking of silence, which creates worlds. The dark feeds on silence. It feeds on it. It requires it. It requires that people remain in misunderstanding and shame. It requires that people do not uncloak. It requires invulnerability and self-protection. It requires the concept of harm. Energetically, there is such a thing as harm. This vehicle becomes ill around too much darkness. It is true. And so, the only deadline there is here is one of self-care. Are you going to choose to care for those who do not wish for your care? Or are you going to take care of yourself? Let those who are drowning drown. Because every time you reach out to try and help them, they hit you. Let them drown. They don't want your help. They are doing life the way they wish. They do not need a healing. They need the suffering. Because it is in this the healing dwells. A time of an energetic cleave, we say. A time to stand in one's power, once and for all. And this one wonders, can I do it? Can I do it? I have such a bad memory. Understanding, Sayalale these days, it is nothing but an abdication of habit that is required. Simply an abdication of habit, of thought. We reminded this one of a near-death experience panel she availed herself to, in which there were those who could feel this negativity, this darkness, this pain that makes her sick. Yes, it does. One felt the opposite of the darkness is millibells. And so he would be able to tell you how many millibells you have within your field, and that would tell you how bright you are or how dark you are, yes? But he looked at the millibells. Another called this sensation and this consciousness the ugly. And it's quite ugly. This one equates it with magic and sees the muggles as being profoundly misunderstanding, and as a result quite nasty to be around, and prone to all kinds of mischief, which is not good for anybody, and has much to do with the self-deception. It's grotesque, it's tiresome, and it's common. It is the general population. It is a nation that voted in such an imbecile. An entire nation. This is the product of the consciousness of the culture. And this is precisely why this one has been toying with death. And we are not just saying it as a little bit of a well, maybe. It explains a bit why there's a mass exodus as well. We say there is work afoot, dear ones. Sure, it'll be magical and surprising and lots of fun and up and down and roller coastery, la la la. But it's work, dear ones, it's work. There are many who are asleep, and they are brutal as a result. And this brutality, well, you know, it has a way of catching up with a person. And the waking up, well, that can be kind of messy, can't it? Kind of painful. It requires people with big hearts, picking up the pieces, being compassionate with those who have not earned it, if there is such a thing. But this is not done while the abusive one is wielding power, screaming and yelling, and intent on harm. It's not appropriate to do it then. It's not appropriate. It's appropriate then to stand in your power, look it in the face, and say, stand down. You do not know who you are talking to. That is all. This, we say, will be starting to happen. Get ready for it. And you know what happens then? The little ones, oh, they yowl and scowl and scowl. Oh, they make big messes. Oh my, because they are wounded. Oh, narcissistic injuries. Oh, they are the worst, are they not? Well, people come around, you know. It's snapping a dog's nose and saying no. Well, you know, it's not to harm, it is to surprise. And standing on one's power and saying no, no more. Well, if you don't, guess what happens? Just everything changes, not a hair. Sure, there's some evolution. If you want stasis, keep your mouth shut. Swallow the other's contempt, because you think that is the most compassionate action. There is a time and a place for letting a fool run his mouth. There are many times when the gift of silence is the most appropriate gift to give, knowing full well you've given a fool enough rope. They'll do what comes naturally. And there comes a time to stand and deliver. One cannot do this without knowing who one is. This is a new paradigm, we say. This is not placating. This is standing firm in one's own sovereignty. Is there a deadline? Well, no, there is no deadline. But why wouldn't you want to take this step as soon as possible? We are not saying that being a bull in a china shop is a good idea. We are saying the time of accepting a bully's version of reality as your reality. Well, that's laziness that needs to stop. It's done when one realizes one's own power and acknowledges they know how to wield it responsibly, compassionately, appropriately. It is fine to just turn and leave. It is fine to challenge. It is best to be impervious. But we would suggest there are some energies that is very difficult to be impervious to. And this takes practice, it takes mindfulness, it takes work. In the meantime, respect yourself enough to seek out, nurture, and sustain individuals and environments which are gentle, respectful, kind, tolerant, and simply remove oneself from environments which are not these things. We say this because these are the preferences of the one before you. Perhaps you prefer the passion of drama and conflict and anger and fighting and calling names and then making up. Oh, the passion with the screaming and the yelling. Oh my God, to know that there's no way to speak to me. Oh, the passion. Yes, when that is a sickness. That is a sickness. It is a virus. It is of the lower agreement field. It is addictive. It is imprisoning. It is the old way. It is not love. It is not loving. It is victim and victimizer. It is the old way. It is not equal. It's toxic. And still love blooms. Still. Because that is the language of this universe. Choose your pursuits as you wish. Your bedfellows as you wish. Use whatever metric you wish. Would it be that of integrity and honesty and humor and goodwill and lightness of spirit? Or how angry you can get and how good you feel when the anger is dispelled and there is love again. Oh well. This is the darkness, this is the ugly, this is the absence of Millie Bells. It is grotesque. It is the land that is passing away. It has a foul odor and a sour taste. It is not healthy for those who are ascending. If you are not, well then, enjoy that. You're not doing it wrong. You can't do it wrong. The only way it can be done wrong is if you're doing it a way other than yours. So, is it appropriate to be looking for people who are non-muggles? Yes, you would say so. At this point, yes. Standing in one's power. Just beginning to understand how to bring these things to one now. Before it was all just magic. This magical thing, well, you know. It's how to flip it into reality, yeah? That's the fun part. That's what we teach her now. That's what we help you see by looking in now and then. This was a strong message for a happier new year. Namaste.